So the audio in this video, I recorded two different versions, and one of them was very unscripted, and then the other one I tried to do a little script, but I followed it well enough, I guess. But anyway, if you hear some cuts, deal with it. Thank you. Bye. Hello. So today I will be taking this drawing of BTS's Jungkook from 8 months ago and repairing it with washi tape like you see in the drawing to the right. I should have recorded that one as well. In fact, that's going to be a future video topic, documenting your art and recording everything. I didn't like either of these drawings when I made them. I remember being in a slump and it just took so long to actually draw them, and they didn't even come out right. The proportions were off for one thing. The eye was really uneven in this particular one that I'm lining right now. At the time that I drew these, I was really uninspired and not motivated at all, and I still lack the discipline really to work through that, just sheer willpower working through it. So they've been sitting in my sketchbook like a bump on a log for 2 or 3 months now, maybe, no, even longer, like 5 months. It was a long time ago. The adjustments, I kind of forgot what exactly I did, but I know I pulled the hair out just a smidge, and I definitely fixed his left eye, or the right eye. I moved it up, and I also made the top of the eye a little thicker with the lines. I also moved the right corner of his mouth up, and I think that's all I did. Anyway, I'm gonna take a kneaded eraser here, which are so fun to play with, by the way, and I'm going to roll out the darkness that the pencil has. Alright, so now I'm gonna start using the washi tape that I've bought, and boy did I splurge. I definitely, I went on an online shop, if you will, on that eBay. Anyway, so one of these that I bought out of the freaking, I don't even know, 30 that I purchased, one of these is asymmetrical in the fact that on one side it has flowers, but they end in the middle, and the other edge is white. So I think this is going to be a really nice tape to use at the bottom of objects, and it will give it kind of a settling feeling, or some weight, almost like a gradient, but not really. So I'm using an X-Acto swivel knife to cut everything so that I don't have to rotate my hand so much, because the knife will just rotate for me. And tweezers help a lot too, because my fat fingers can't pull these tiny little strips of tape off of the paper. Oh, for the cheek circles, they're kind of part of my style. I usually draw them. Not original, by the way. It's totally not original. I don't even know who I stole it from, but I'm definitely not the first to do it. But here I'm actually using tape to make them, and it's pink. It's pink floral tape with really small flowers, so you can still tell that they are flowers once I've cut away most of the tape into the circle shape. When you're cutting, you don't want to cut too hard, because it's just so easy to go through the paper, and you don't even know that you've gone through the paper until you move it, because X-Acto knives cut so precisely. So while I'm continuing, I'd like to talk about, to expand the subject, if you will, of shaking things up when you have art block or feel demotivated. So I squeezed 8 months ago, right? Sometime in November. I squeezed these two drawings out of an uncooperative mind, and I was not all there. And recently I've also been in another one of my don't want to create states, because I've been working 2 jobs, which gave me extra money to buy a bunch of washi tape. But anyway, using new products, or new art supplies, or even just new techniques really, with no expectations of the outcome, it really helps me just put something down on the paper just to get it out there, because like if I'm not creating, that's the worst thing I could be doing. Like I need to at least be doing something, like even if it looks bad or it's hard to do. But anyway, so using new things, it's like, you know how when you make a new dish, like a new food, and it comes out like super good, and it's like it's almost even like you'll never top yourself again. That came out wrong. But anyway, like you'll never make that same food item as good as you just made it for the first time. So that's like how it feels for me to use new stuff. And I find it's a lot easier just to create when I am using new stuff. So like, okay, so like for example, I tried using ink. Like I just poured ink onto some paper and let it, flow within the paper last time this happened to me. And the time before that, I actually tried painting with gouache, or however you pronounce that type of paint, like the between watercolor and acrylic paint. And that time with gouache paint, to be honest, it really didn't turn out well. Like I still hate that painting, but that's okay because I didn't set myself up for failure by expecting something out of myself. Does that make sense? I'll actually show that painting here in this video. And I started, I kept trying to fix it, and it just it just did not want to work with me. It just kept getting worse, like with each layer. We're gonna let this one go. But I was okay with letting it go because I didn't really place any value onto it to begin with. So anyway, let's get back to talking about this drawing in particular. So as you can see, that pastel cloud, the right version of Jungkook, is breathing out cold air or like cigarette smoke, even though, I don't know, to each their own, but I kind of find like the whole smoking thing gross since they're singers. Anyway, that's we're not getting political here. What was I saying? Layers. It's, if you look closely at it, you probably won't be able to see it in this video, but if you look closely, you will see a bunch of layers, like at least 6, maybe more, 7. But yeah, I layered it a lot more than I did with the background in this piece that I'm recording. Alright, so for the background, I took one piece of tape and I precisely cut it. And this will kind of form a base to just ground the whole thing. After cutting away the tape on the inside of his face, I decided to just boop it right down onto a sweater. And that, makes less waste, which is nice. Which, by the way, like, you definitely don't have to save every little scrap. I kind of like reusing scraps because, I don't know, it just makes me feel better that I'm using every little bit of tape, but it's not like you have to. It's up to you, man. Anyway, so I added a few pink stripes so that the shirt wasn't just white and then like one weird block of floral tape. It's a little bit more balanced this way. With ripping the tape, I tried to avoid tangents, for one thing, and I also tried to avoid right angles. So I tried to keep the shapes organic in the fact that their edges were soft by being torn rather than cut. And I also tried to keep it organic in the sense that there are really no right angles to be seen, or not very many right angles, because that's not really found in nature. And I started to choose some darker tapes to put some contrast into the background. And also I was kind of actually running out of scraps at this point, so like I actually had nothing. I physically needed new tape. So anyway, I just took a strip of this galaxy tape and started laying it down, just started ripping away at it. Kind of, it felt nice, you know? It feels nice to rip things. That's the major point of this video. Just like tearing it up. I'm tearing it up, boy. Anyway. Anything that's in your sketchbook or anything that you've drawn that you don't like, you don't have to live with that. You can use it as experimenting. Like, you can experiment with that. Just see where you can go with something that you've never done before, and if it turns out worse, you can just laugh at it like I do with like freaking the Walmart TV throwing painting, or you can just, you know, throw it away at that point. Like, it's fine. I know a lot of people say like, oh, don't throw your art away, you know, like, it's valuable. Literally, if it's going to bug you and make you sad looking at a piece of art that you don't like, just toss it. But that being said, also make sure that you really actually don't like your art and that you're not just being like hard on yourself, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't really have strong opinions on that topic, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about it. It looks really soft and it fits with the fact that most, or actually not even most, literally all of the color that you see in this drawing is tape. So if I just colored in his eyes, it would have been like, might not have looked so good. But anyway, I retraced a little bit, or redrew. I redrew a little bit of the eyelashes with pen. They got covered up by the tape. And then I put a little piece on his bottom lip where there was a gap. And this was actually a pink flower from the light blue tape. And it just makes it look shaded almost. Does that make sense? And then my battery died and I didn't catch it this time. Diggity dang. So yeah, I finished the rest of the drawing and looked up to stop the recording, and I was like, oh crap. So that happened. That's alright though. I didn't do too much more after that beyond just putting a few bits of dark tape down. I'm sorry that, actually no, I'm not really sorry. I'm trying to say that less, but in the future, I hope to make more scripts. Not even more. I just hope to make scripts, period, because sitting here trying to talk about the video while watching it, it's not working out. I think my next video I want to talk about completing a sketchbook or ideas for a sketchbook. Something I've been liking sketchbooks for a while now. They're just portable. Anyway, I've talked enough this video. So, thank you if you came here from Patreon. Thank you for supporting me. If you didn't, thank you for watching. You're still cool, don't worry. And if you want to go support me, I will link my Patreon down in the description, as well as my social media. If you want to hang out with me there, we can chat. Cool. And freaking ready for Voltron. I might do some fan art of that next. And then I might do some fan art of Bangtan when they come back. BTS. Sometime in September, it's rumored. I swear to God, if Cookie actually has blue hair.